Hey Eagle fans, it's EaglefanKarl. This is going to be my prediction video for the game between the Eagles and Bills. That will be the game that will start the last quarter of the NFL season and will be the first test to see if the Eagles can find a way to win a division title down the stretch when there's obviously an opening there with the way that the NFC East has been all year. For those of you who watched my video earlier this week when I did a breakdown of all four teams in the division and their schedules down the stretch, you'll know that I did pick the Bills to win this game, and I said at that point I'd explain a little more detail why I think that's the case. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. Spoiler alert, I am going to be picking the Bills at the end of this thing. So let's start off by looking at some of the stats between these two teams. And looking at the stats, I think it's pretty clear that both these teams are going to be able to move the ball and score some points in this game. When you look at the stats, both offenses actually look pretty average. The Eagles, ironically enough, they're 16th and 17th in total offense in terms of yardage, Eagles being 16th and the Bills being 17th. But both defenses are below average in terms of giving up yardage. The Eagles are at 26th and the Bills are at 20th. But of course, moving the ball is not enough in the NFL. You've got to be able to actually score some points. And the Eagles are still about average when it comes to scoring points. They're at 15th. The Bills are getting a little bit better than average at 10th. And in terms of the defense, in terms of what points they give up, this once again is where the Eagles are below average at 25th and the Bills are at 16th. It's kind of ironic looking at the differences in terms of the two teams and what they give up and what they score, because what the Eagles score and what the Bills give up are identical at 23.2 points a game, and what the Eagles give up and the Bills score are very close, right around 25 points a game. So if you were going to go just based on averages, you'd say Bills 25, Eagles 23. But I think actually they're going to be able to move the ball a little bit better than that, and probably both teams are going to score a little bit more than that, especially the conditions with the weather should be pretty favorable. So I think we are going to be able to score some points looking at those statistics and the conditions. But I think all in all, the Bills are probably going to be able to score a little bit more. And one of the things that really comes into play in terms of what I'm thinking for tomorrow is the fact that they have obviously a top running back in LeSean McCoy, who's going to be out for revenge, obviously, given what happened in the offseason. He's going to want to have a big game. And then they also have Sammy Watkins in their receiving corps, who's one of the best receivers in the league. And the Eagles have shown with guys like Julio Jones and Des Bryant that you get some of these top flight wide receivers, and the Eagles lots of times have a hard time stopping guys like that. So that could become problematic, especially when you've sort of got to pick your poison and try and figure out if you're going to really try and stop the running game or stop the passing game, because one of them is probably going to beat you. And Billy Davis is going to really have to have a tight wire act trying to figure out which of those he's really going to try and stop, and which of those is going to probably end up chewing up yards, and then maybe you hope you can clamp down and hold them to field goals instead of touchdowns. So I think that's sort of where it ends up coming down on our defensive side of the ball, is those two weapons I think are going to prove to be a little bit too much for our defense to be able to stop. So I think they will move the ball, they will score points. So it's going to end up becoming whether or not we can try and keep up with them and outscore them. I do think the Eagles have a chance in this game. It's not that I don't think they have a chance. I think they can outscore them and figure out a way to win. Of course, I didn't think they had a chance last week and they won, so what do I know? But ultimately, I think that they do have a chance if they can stay in the game and try and outscore them, maybe make another big special teams play somewhere along the way, or a defensive turnover or something like that that could go a long way. I think something like that could end up becoming something in their favor. But all in all, looking at all the statistics, I think that the Bills are just a little bit better of a team. They've got a little bit better offense, and I think they'll be able to move the ball against our defense, which isn't exactly the strongest. So from that perspective, I like the Bills to win this game. The other reason I'm really picking against the Eagles in this game is more because of the letdown factor. It was a big win last week, obviously, emotional win, really charged up. It's hard to sort of get up like that again, especially when you beat a team like the Patriots or the defending Super Bowl champions. I think it's going to be hard for them to get up again, even though it's in front of the home crowd, and really try and end up pulling off another upset, because the Eagles are not favored in this game. So at this point, I think that's going to be a hard thing to do, to try and really get up for that game again. So I do think the Eagles will fall short on this one. My prediction for a final score is Bills 34, Eagles 30. We'll check in after the game and after the NFC East plays, and we'll see exactly how things turn out and where we stand for the last 3 weeks of the season. If you didn't see my prediction video earlier this week for the entire last quarter of the season for all 4 NFC East teams, I'll put a link for that in the description below, so you can click on that and watch that video as well. And then, like I said, I'll check in afterwards, and we'll see where we stand for the final last 3 games on the home stretch of the season. Until then, fly Eagles fly.